Peace and welcome to Oddly Familiar. Today we have a Capcom episode. A lot of people think we don't like Capcom around here because they are featured in almost every episode we do. So I want to clarify the reason why Capcom has made this series so many times is not because we dislike Capcom. It's the complete opposite. We like Capcom and we have enjoyed many Capcom games. That's why we have heard so many Capcom soundtracks. And let's not forget to mention that they have so many good soundtracks. So with no further delay, let's talk Capcom music. Our first up is from Mega Man X6, The Weapon Center. And here is Europe, The Final Countdown. The perfect entry to kick off our list, although this won't be our final countdown. The melodies aren't exactly the same, but they do have the same feel. From the synthesizer to the way they both build up, I would feel safe saying The Final Countdown was perhaps an inspiration, but this is definitely not a case of plagiarism. Number 9 is from Street Fighter Alpha, the theme of Birdie. And Michael Jackson's Bad. This one has a familiar ring to it, and when MJ is so popular, it's easy to let your mind go to the song Bad. Street Fighter Alpha was the first all-new Street Fighter game produced by Capcom since the release of Street Fighter II. And you can find it on the Street Fighter 30th Anniversary Collection. So if you want to play the game, I recommend that version there. Number 8 comes from Final Fight, the subway theme. And here is Long Train Running by the Doobie Brothers. You can find the subway theme on multiple versions of Final Fight. I went with the arcade theme, however you can find it on the SNES as well. And the Game Boy Advance. You can also find this tune on Final Fight Double Impact. All of them use different instruments and have a different overall feel, but the general melody is there. My favorite is probably the Sega CD version. Number 7 is Mega Man 2, the Quick Man theme. Here is Stevie B, Spring Love. Shout out to Saki XL for leaving this comment. Without this, I may have never heard the connection. Spring Love comes from the Stevie B album titled Party Your Body, which was released on February 27th of 1988. And Mega Man 2 was released on December 24th, 1988. This is another one of those cases where the game was being developed while the song was popular and on the radio. so maybe the composer took inspiration without even thinking about it. Number 6 is from Resident Evil Gaiden on the Game Boy Color, the introduction. And here is Tubular Bells. The Exorcist shows up for the third time in our series, and this one is a viewer submission, so I gotta give the quick shout out. Thanks for the comment. The introduction is only one instrument, so it's really easy to hear, but you can also find a similar tune on a track named Restaurant X. Number 5 is one of my personal favorites from Street Fighter, VEGA's theme. And here is ESPANA CANI. Quick shout out to Dark Crow 02 for pointing this one out. ESPANA CANI was first recorded in 1923. In English, it's also known as the Spanish Gypsy Dance. The VEGA theme originates from Street Fighter II, and it has been remade numerous times. I played the Super Nintendo version because it's the one that I know best, but my favorite would come from the official instrumental album, NESSHOU. Unlucky number 4 is Breath of Fire 4, Amen, the theme of Con. And Wipeout by the Safaris. This one is not close enough to be called plagiarism, it's just close enough to give the feel of the song, but not enough to infringe. Wipeout is a popular song to parody if you have any sort of ocean or sea stage, and especially if the level involves surfing. Recorded in 1962 and released in 1963, the song Wipeout has been featured in many movies and TV shows, as well as video games. Our bronze position is held by Chip 'n Dale's Rescue Rangers on the NES, Zone B. Let's compare that one to the Beatles, When I'm 64.
Still need me, will you still feed me when I'm 64?
It's only a small portion, but it's in there. The Chip 'n Dale track replaces the vocals with an instrument. I would almost consider it an instrumental cover. The Beatles song is from 1967, with Chip 'n Dale's Rescue Rangers coming out in 1990. And I must say, if you like retro platformers and have not played this game, I would recommend you check it out. Our last Street Fighter entry on the list. This one comes from Super Street Fighter 4, the theme of Fei Long. And here is the theme from For a Few Dollars More. One big difference in the two is the featured instruments in each song. The Street Fighter entry has an Asian feel to it, while For a Few Dollars More has a Western feel to it. Besides that, the riff is there. For a Few Dollars More was written and composed by one of the greatest movie composers of all time. And the Super Street Fighter 4 track was composed by Hideki Fukusawa, the first time he has appeared in Oddly Familiar. Last but not least, Mega Man, the boss battle theme. And here is the VASQUEZ Super Show. Our top spot today comes from the Capcom platformer, first released in 1987, Mega Man. The soundtrack is a classic. This may not be the most popular song from it, but it gets to be the top spot today. These two tunes have a similar feel. The Super Show has a Latin sort of feel to it, and the Mega Man has the same sort of structure. Composed by Manami Matsumae, one of the most talented producers when it comes to chiptunes. She has composed some of my favorite NES tracks. We haven't really given her much attention in the series so far, and we felt that needed to change. So there you go, finally a Capcom episode. We tried to mix it up and put a good blend of games, and Capcom has so many games it was a little bit of a challenge to narrow it down. So all that means is, we have already decided to do another Capcom episode. So from now, until then, I am ICC, thanks for watching, peace.